I think we
Start.
should definitely start. We're losing all this good shit.
Well, like we're about to like discuss this past like what we. Okay. Hi, and welcome to Dungeons and Grease. This is a very informal intro. My name's Adrian.
And I'm Alex.
Look, we've been talking for the past like I don't know how I'm gonna edit this, but we've been talking for the past like 10 minutes, and we keep stopping each other, just like, wait, are we? Did we start? Like we've been discussing, anyways. But this is a very lax episode. It's just gonna be me and Alex. It's gonna be good
Woo!
because we're just kind of talking about what we've. I almost started my podcast voice again. We're just gonna, just do the thing, talk about our past, see how everything feels. I just.
I've never heard you talk in that podcast voice. That's a new Is this new 2021, Adrian?
Let's just see how things go.
Oh,
Just how do
absolutely
you
not.
feel?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm excited for what's to come, but we can discuss that next episode. This episode is brought to you by coronavirus.
Oh, coronavirus.
This whole year has been weird. 3 months in, everything goes on lockdown. I out of a job, get back in a job in the summer, quit that job, find another job. I think it's the longest I've been switching jobs and everything. Yeah, pretty much like 3 jobs within 1 year. That's very unlike me, but it wasn't like I quit the first time. It was just a global lockdown for the most part, as much as we could.
So, I guess not a generational thing, but like a time of graduation type thing. So I graduated with my undergrad right at the height, like chef's kiss of the downfall of America, part 1. Right. So the big financial crisis that
Mm-hmm.
I think you were graduating.
I graduated last December.
Yeah, but you were graduating like high school or middle school or something like that, right?
Wow, I don't know.
Okay, so it was not a time that you were aware of things that were going on outside of your your,
This
your
is
sphere,
fucked
which
up
is
but
fine.
true.
Right, developmentally, that's totally fine. But like when I graduated, that's what was going on. But I felt like it was definitely uncontrollable at the moment. So like, who knows how the financial crisis happened in the United? Like, I don't know.
Are you talking
It's
about like
happening to all of us.
the housing bubble thing?
Yeah,
Uh,
all of that.
I
So
think
that's when
my
I
dad
graduated.
was going back to school back then.
Okay, back then. No, it's fair. It was a long time ago. But like,
Yeah,
that's when I
age yourself
graduated.
right now.
um, so that's when I got done with school, which meant I basically did what any good millennial does and went back to graduate school. So like you graduating and then coming out in coronavirus, like how do
Yep.
you feel about your future?
I don't understand. I don't know if it's as of recent time, but I've more and more have heard the term "it is what it is," and I really think that's how my mentality has been about this whole situation. I had money I saved up. That's because I just didn't do much, and I was always trying to make sure that I had 2 months worth of rent kind of saved up always. That I've always had that mentality. The issue with that is that's all I had left over, and I usually spent a lot of whatever was excess of it. So I had money when I went back home. I moved out of my apartment stuff. I got lucky enough that people allowed me to stay at their houses month or 2 months until I could properly move back. And then, yeah, then the COVID happened, and then I really had to move back, and I just got back from spending some time with my friends in New Orleans. And like that weekend, New Orleans got shut down right after we left. It was crazy. And I just sat home for 3 months. And I did nothing. I literally vegged out. I, I started One Piece. I started looking for games, dungeon and Dragons with my old friends back in Lubbock and the people online. And I started like, I want to be a better dungeon master. Can I do this on the side? Because like when I went back to San Antonio, the idea in my head was go back to San Antonio, start playing D&D, go to like game shops and just like, hey, I'm a DM. Can I DM for some people? Like, I wanted to get that skill up while I stayed home while I was looking for a job, and that didn't happen because everything was shut down. So I went online and I got one game there, and then I got four other games with like four other people, like groups of people that I knew back in Lubbock or San Antonio and just all over the place. And then a lot of those fell apart, which just, happens. And now I have this one game that I have right
Say
now.
it.
It's Curse of Strahd, yeah. Yeah, you know it. I
Yeah.
can't stop talking about it.
No,
um,
I mean, we can, those at home, you just drink. 10 o'clock in the morning, drink. It's fine. Whatever.
Whenever you take this podcast, drink. You're out working out, drink. Um, yeah, before you go work out, buy those little like $1.99 shot little things. Put it in your fanny pack. Yeah, no, and that's definitely helped me grow. I've learned a lot. I don't know if I was the same DM as I was before. I'm slowly figuring things out. Like last session, I figured out, oh, you can just upload things from the Roll20 compendium, and I thought I had to like manually enter everything into the system. So yeah, I'm always growing, and I'm dealing with people that I didn't think I'd have to deal with, like people that are a lot more knowledgeable than me, which I knew that was going to happen. I just in my game, everyone's just full of wonderment and they don't question anything, and they just like, yeah, let's roll with it. Like I'm very loose with the rules. I'm not too hard, but if it's something that's outlandish, no, and I'm very loose. So when someone who's like rules lawyer, this is how raw is, but is willing to say, but it ultimately just depends on you, Adrian, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So having that communication with my group is really something else, and I kind of hope I'm able to transfer it to other groups potentially whenever this session ends, because it all has to come to an end eventually. But yeah, I've been thinking about that. Sorry, what was the original question? I just oh how my mentality about this year. Oh, pfft. Yeah, no, it is what it is. I didn't know if I was gonna get a job or not. I was living with my parents, and part of me is just like, this sucks because I'm just living here for free for the most part. But little do they know, I have slowly but surely been accumulating funds to pay them back.
Aww.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the first installment when I went home for Thanksgiving, and hopefully I can get the next part in eventually. I don't know. It just depends on how much I make this couple months. And yeah, I'm going to pay them back because I felt blessed. I was able to like stay there and also receive.
The stimulus, yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
so I got the stimulus, but also was getting like unemployment, but it was like increased because of the situation. So I was getting that, and I spent it on. My dad wanted to give my mom some gifts, so I spent it on that. But I bought myself a new computer because the other one was kind of lagging out, and I would drop from calls and everything. It was just horrible. And also I wanted to do more of this stuff, and a podcast or YouTube or something. I didn't know this was going to become this when I first started the year. I just knew that I wanted this computer to create something. And I am doing that. So I'm really happy about that. But yeah, my mentality just been whatever. I didn't know if I was going to get the job. We already kind of talked about that in Carlos's episode where I literally thought, we're just filling out some paperwork. I don't even have this job. But I did. That was stupid. I'm stupid, but whatever.
That's my favorite moment we've had together.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm gonna go all this way to sign some paperwork, but I didn't know I was starting a job.
Yeah, I didn't know it's my first big boy job. I've been mostly a server for the most part. Yeah, server and bus. I've worked in food my entire college career. And this is my first job that's not dealing with that, and it's interesting and stressful, but I'm really happy that I'm here now. I'm excited to see what comes of it. Because I want to be here for at least 2 years, 2 years minimum, so I can have that experience under my belt. Because a lot of jobs need 2 years experience, and I never had that. So I'm excited to try this out Yeah, that's what's been going through my mind. 2020. It's been a whole fucking rattle fest. I've see. I mean, people keep thinking like it's about to end, but like we're literally like the biggest spike since the beginning. So like they see the goal, and they're just people are not being as cautious as they should be. It's kind of bizarre. But I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing because I know that's been keeping me safe at least. Is any of this usable?
I think it is. I mean that makes sense. Just generally like it is what it is, and rather than trying to control or wonder about what it should have been or any of that, just like going with the flow. And I think that's admirable. I think it's a nicer way to live because I know that that's what my mentality has been for the most part. But I mean, I had a stable job, and the only unstable part of it was going from in the office to out of the office and then being stuck at home. And then so I then get to actual face the things that, maybe I'm not so excited about my personality or things, right? Just general. I'm sure Skylar is hearing his name, just general ADHD things. Like,
Yeah.
it's really hard, and especially having a period of being on my medicine and then having a period now where I can't contact my psychiatrist, and I haven't been. I can absolutely see if I had not gotten on my medicine, girl, I probably would have been institutionalized because of my own like self-sabotaging of just not wanting to do anything and having a depressive episode, and those parts where you're supposed to reach out to your friends. And fortunately I have a partner who helps me through with all of that, so it doesn't feel as bad. I also know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel right now, so just keeping track of that. But I definitely think it's been more of a like face the things that are going on with me, and then like becoming my next level self, which maybe is just seeing the positive in this whole quarantine COVID-19 situation. But I've been very fortunate all year that we really haven't had to worry a whole lot. I mean, there's been a couple of moments, especially because, Michael works and sells cars, which means that people are probably not going to go buy cars, which means that his paychecks are very small or non existent. But then there were some weeks, for whatever reason, a lot of people were buying cars and we were okay. So that wave is a little bit, I guess, more manageable now that maybe I'm older. Or that
What do you mean by older?
I, because I can tell you for a fact, 25-year-old Alex did not have 2 months of rent. You saying that you had all of that, you were like, oh, I'm ahead. Oh, I was never ahead on my rent. Maybe I was in college. I was while I was in school. But after I graduated my master's, I was cutting it up to the line of if I have the funds to even just pay for my housing.
Yeah.
And I know that, I mean, I've had a lot of days where I was using candles because LPNL sucks and is the worst.
No, I
But I
remember
also just
that. That's like they're fucking price gouging because it's the only company
oh my
with.
god, that's a monopoly. That is illegal, but whatever. What are you gonna do? Nothing. You've got to have some sort of electricity. So yeah, trying to figure out how to.
You make your own electricity. You get a bike and just start spinning. I don't know how that works, but I've seen movies.
No.
They look cool. No, I've been there, done that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to kind of hit like I mean, I wasn't like this always. I like between me my first 2 years and my last 2 year or 2 to 2.5 years of college, there was a point where I was working two jobs and just making it by, and that's all I had. So it was it sucked. I moved back, I saved up, and then I went back at it. Like the jobs I had at the very beginning didn't pay squat, but I didn't know that. I didn't know there was better jobs and better opportunities that I could accomplish with. I just said like I'm glad to have a job, and that was my mentality for a long time. And I didn't see it like I was making maybe like $70 to $30 a day working as a server, and I didn't know anything better than that. That was my mentality. And I go to a different job, and I was making like from 80 to 100 a day. And then I'm like, okay, that's awesome. And then I had money to spend and save. Like just the situation I was in, I didn't realize that I could have had better if I had looked for other opportunities. But I didn't see myself as that. I saw myself as, you're lucky enough just to have a job. That's it. That was the mentality for a long time between then. So I knew how it was coming from that to this. Like literally eating ham sandwiches or just the ham or just the cheese, or, you know, get ramen. It was like that was my meals for that time period, was sandwiches and ramen, and that's it. Maybe I'll spice it up by putting an egg in it, but like, whoa, I'm really living the life. So I think because I had that mentality and because I've went through that experience of like barely making it, then I know that since when I did start making it, I went spend less. And I mean, I see these kids who are making this money now, and they're like every night they're going out and dropping money. And I'm like, what? Why do you keep drinking? Why do you keep doing all this stuff? It's ridiculous. Like they're like my age, so like they're it blows my mind.
Well, I mean, we can always have the conversation that maybe that's just what they do, and maybe that's the money rather than spending money on D&D or video games. That's what they're doing instead. But maybe it's escapism. You know, there's lots of things it could be. But yeah, I can tell you that through the struggles of my undergrad and my graduate and just being an adult on my own, this year has been a lot easier because I've had more, you know, budgeting tools and been a little more aware of my spending habits, and then, you know, just the general not able to go out.
Yeah,
That may
that really helped
play a
us out for a
factor.
lot.
That might play a factor. But yeah, and then like realizing that, I think for me that realizing my money is a vote and my money actually plays a bigger part in the world itself has made me a little more conscious of like where I spend it. So rather than just like, I don't know, going to Walmart or going to Amazon to get whatever I need because maybe they make questionable choices with their money, I can put it to better use. And maybe I'm spending a little bit more money, but in the long run, I think it makes me feel better since I'm supporting better causes or whatever. Right. So shopping small, or um, really taking a look at what I'm getting. So if I can get all the stuff at Walmart, right, I can get all this food. How much of that food am I just throwing away because we're not eating, or it was something that I thought I wanted, but really I can survive on mac and cheese because I love it and it makes me happy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I don't necessarily need to have a fancy, I don't know, kale salad. Like I think I've thrown away a lot of lettuce in my life because I think
Yes.
that that's something that I should have, but really
I
is
don't.
not working for me or my lifestyle. It's not good. I don't do it. So rather than spending the money and then throwing it away, I'd rather go to a smaller business and then order a salad there because I don't have to deal with like maintaining the supply.
Yeah, I think that the other thing was your money is your vote. I think this is the first year I've actually like donated to
Ooh.
people and to kind of people who I believed in or needed help. Like there was that kind of part in this year where exchange students were being potentially like they couldn't stay here, they had to go back. And a lot of them like, well, I just spent all my money on rent and all this stuff, so like I don't even have enough for a plane ticket, so am I just going to be arrested and deported? And some people are like, well, I've been living here for so long, but I don't have citizen status. Like all that kind of conversation and that those people that I kind of had in my life who are exchange students and were like on a some sort of like school visa, that I kind of saw their voices. I'm like, that's something I can get behind, and that's something that I can talk about. And that was like one of the first things I donated to this year. I haven't thought of using my money in that way before, but I'm glad I did this time around.
Oh man, I can't. The F1 visa issue and then even DACA when Trump was elected, those are two issues, especially working in higher education. I will go from zero to just like flip the table over and burn this whole building down because that's messing with students and their livelihood. And I have zero chill when it comes to that. And I don't know if it's because I've worked in higher ed for the last 5 years or what, but I that's one thing that I absolutely agree with. That I'm happy that you did that and you helped out, and I'm happy that our country can figure out ways around things, but it's because of people on the ground who are trying to make sure that, you know, people who want to be here should be here. Like they've got valid voices, they have valid trades and things that they can offer to the United States. And it's a shame that there's a portion of our population who does not see that.
And they also have like valid documentation. It's not like they have the paperwork that they need to be here, but all of a sudden someone decides no, like, but why? Like they spent their whole lives here to kind of figure their own life out, and then all of a sudden a switch is flicked, and they're just like, well, now what?
They
Like,
could take our jobs.
I, they could derbs.
Oh
Ah,
man,
South
I
Park.
can't. There's there's the other side of that, right? If someone's gonna take my job, are they getting paid the same amount as I am, or are they getting paid less because of their documentation status?
Mm-hmm.
So that even I'm not even mad if they do take my job. I just want to make sure that they're also treated with the same level that I'm treated. And if I'm not treated at the same level, then like that's a conversation as well, right? So if I, Alex, a female person, am not making as much money as Adrian, the male person, and maybe I have more experience or whatever, like that's some bullshit too.
I'm made of
But
male.
and I mean, I understand where that all comes from, but I'm definitely curious to see the changes that will be coming. I hope that are coming through next year with new leadership and then with everyone having a moment to reflect, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah.
If not, I am going to use my loud ass fucking voice to
Yeah.
make sure that everyone is at the table.
Yeah, of course. I think that this year was kind of a roller coaster for sure, and I think it was this election was one of the ones that I kind of listened to this time around a little bit more closely. So I'm excited that it all kind of that I feel like I'm growing in that sense where I'm not just a passenger, that I'm taking an active stance and voicing a little bit more of my opinion, even though it's a small amount more than it was before. That I'm slowly getting out of my shell and trying to figure that all out.
I think that's important because it doesn't have to be a big change. It can be little changes, and then little changes become more little changes, and then those changes all together become a bigger snowball and then avalanche. So, I don't think there's any shame in small changes like that. That's really exciting. And I'm really proud of you. Like that's
Oh,
really cool.
oh, thanks. Oh,
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Yeah. Where were you at the beginning of this year?
um I thought I was doing well. I really I really was hopeful that I was at a place that I needed to be and that I was fine with being in my job and being with my partner. And then so I was really excited about all the things that could have happened with 2020. I think like a lot of people. I was just excited about a new decade and being 30 and all of this. I just turned 30. So like that was a new
Ooh, 30
level.
and flirty.
A 30, 40 and thriving. You know what? It's fine. And then I think it was just changing, and I figured out things about the way I thought, and then I had some other background drama decide to unfold, and some of the trash in my life decided to take itself out or reveal itself. And in which case the feelings that I felt maybe were a little more valid and I have more of an understanding. So without going completely into anything, because I do like to overshare, but this I think is one of those that needs to stay within me because it's
Yeah, yeah,
anyways.
yeah, yeah.
It's one of those things, right? So like that piece of trash that decided to take itself out really enlightened a lot of things about the way I do things and the way I think. And I don't validated sort of the struggle that I felt like I was going through. And I think with that moment, I feel like everything's going to be okay. Like I'm not necessarily broken because I had years of this opinion being in my space and feeling like they had a valid spot, and then me just willingly giving them that valid spot in my life. When in all actuality, they do not deserve that valid spot and they are trash. So with that, I'm excited to see the next steps, and I definitely feel as though the positive changes I've made within myself are definitely being reflected back to me, which is really exciting and scary. So if we start, I wanted to get my health back on track and start working out in an actual manner, not just like, oh, I'm just going to work out like twice a week, but like actually giving myself a schedule and picking up a trainer. That's been really, really great. And I've worked through a lot of maybe my relationship with food and with eating and with my health. And then, just taking a stab in the dark of being unhappy in a job where I mostly am happy, but the things that I'm unhappy with, just higher ed, as you know, like I just talked about it's frustrating on a couple of really deep levels in which I feel like people don't take responsibility for changing, right? There's a lot of places that there are strong gatekeepers in higher education, and I don't think there's any reason for those gatekeepers to be there. Visa students, especially because we're talking about maybe students who English is not their first language in a system that's very convoluted. I think there should be an open policy of like what the fuck is going on behind the scenes and helping them navigate. And just general freshmen have no idea what they're doing, and that's okay. But I think not giving them the tools does a disservice to people who work with students on the front lines. And then, as a person who works with students on the front lines, it's very difficult to help them in an efficient way when you've got leadership who doesn't want to help them in an efficient way. And I'm not by means like speaking about my specific position because there's a little bit of that, but there's not. But overall, like I've worked at two different schools. I've worked at Texas Tech and I've worked at the University of Texas at Dallas, and that's prevalent in both of those systems. So I'm sure it's prevalent in a lot of higher ed. So having those issues and then just being like, all right, well, I had given it up. I told myself I was going to be in that role for at least 4 years so I could see a freshman to graduation class. That was important. That's what I thought was important. But getting frustrated and just being like, well, you know what? Maybe I'm supposed to be doing something else. And then, thinking about it, talking to a therapist, working on my other background things, and then realizing that maybe the teaching part is what I should be focusing on. I do have my master's, I have my teaching cert. There's got to be some reason why the universe gave me those tools, allowed me to complete them to fruition. And so, honestly, on a whim, I applied and I got hired the next day. So, I applied, got a call for an interview, had that interview within that call, even though they were just trying to schedule the interview, had my second interview 5 minutes later, and then had the position 20 minutes after the start of that conversation. So, we're talking about 45 minutes of like, hey, the thing that you've put out in the universe is valid, and here is your opportunity. And so, and,
What?
we talked about it just a little bit ago that like I take copious amounts of notes and I definitely prepare myself for interviews and I make sure I have all those things together. So I did take my college level notes for D&D, but I had this interview and I had not looked at anything. I haven't looked at my teaching supplies at least in 7 years. since I well, yeah,
Since you
since
got
I
your cert,
graduated.
or
I did, yeah, I did my teaching interview without looking at, like, my actual classroom management notes or, like, things that you should do as a teacher. It was 100% like what I felt that I would be naturally as a teacher. So that's kind of validating and I'm really excited about it.
did you think
And
the
then,
podcast helped?
I think I yes, Adrian.
Yes, yes, that's what I wanted to hear. No, I'm just like
It did.
this kind of conversation and being able to answer and respond, like having this more confident feeling when speaking to others. I mean, I feel like I definitely had to gussy up on that for sure with this podcast. So I was wondering if it had affected you in any way.
Yeah, I definitely feel more confident in general presenting myself as more of an authentic self, but still a level of professionalism, despite sometimes our conversations and our jokes. But this is a podcast, it doesn't have to be completely formal. But yeah, listening back to your voice and the way that you say things definitely changes the way you think when you talk. And then definitely listening to other people. So I think that's a big skill that I've gained out of working with you and working with this podcast is just listening to what other people have. And a lot of the time, I've been put in situations that I don't have the most information, which definitely is super stressful for me. I like to have everything before I go in, but this whole thing has been an exercise of me just stepping back and just enjoying and having legitimate questions and not feeling dumb for having those questions and really learning from other people who are experts as well. And that's really cool. So if anybody is listening and wants to start a podcast, go find yourself a friend or go talk to yourself. But it's very scary and it's very overwhelming, but absolutely would be one thing that I want to carry from 2020 to 2021 and beyond if possible.
Yeah. Um,
So,
yeah. I think that I don't know. I think I've definitely grown from being as it kind of started with like our first guests, Lauren and Julia and Skylar, like all of them. Like Skylar I knew, but I never ever talked to Lauren or Julia ever before. So having them kind of as a starting kind of point to where I kind of grew to have more confidence to ask other people. And then just that kept growing and growing to like, yeah, I mean, just ask and see what happens. And don't be like this whole like wall mentality. Like, I have a document on Google. Hold up, where is it? Let me look it up real quick. Here's the title of the document: Messages I'm too afraid to fail at. That's me trying to just hyping myself up, and as well as for some reason like there's the beginning of the job CV as well. So I guess that all kind of all happened at once. Last edit it was September 12th, which is 9 days before I was hired. So yeah, so like all that kind of happened in one. Me jumping, me talking to my current boss right now, me figuring all this out. I can clearly remember the feeling of like when I was typing this out, my hands felt blocky, and like there's this like kind of this thin layer in front of me between them and that other person, and just feeling like I don't know if I can do this. This is a lot, and what if I mess up, or what if I say the wrong things? What if they think I'm creepy? What if they think that I'm a loser? Like all these ideas just flooding into my head while I'm typing this in, and I'm still typing because part of me is like, at least get it down, just bare minimum, just like kind of pushing and pulling at myself at the same time. And then I remember just typing it all out, and then just like, just do it, just do it, just do it. And I had to sit there for like 10-20 minutes just staring at the inbox, and I'm just like, I gotta send it, gotta send it, and just this wave of emotions, just trying to figure this all out. And then I'm like, fuck it, whatever. I sent it, and then like a cold sweat came down my back. Like, it's done. It's out there. There's nothing else you can say. All you have to do is wait now. And yeah, so I was so scared. And when I got like a response, it felt amazing. It felt good. It felt like, okay, not everything you said was completely dumb. They responded, so something was correct in there. And then I got the other one to respond too, and I was just so happy. I just kind of like I cheered in my desk, just like, yes, oh my gosh, okay, we're starting somewhere, and it felt so great. And then even though I had that experience, even these new people that I've kind of sent these messages to, like, I mean, we've already kind of talked to this when I talked to Carlos. Like, I'm like, I wrote everything down. I wrote why I wanted to talk to them. I wrote everything down on a piece of paper, and it was just so stressful. And the same thing, just do it. I mean, be okay with no. I wrote in all caps on my paper when I wrote down the list. And, same thing. Sent. Cold sweat. Just fuck. And I got a response from most of them, not all of them. But still, it felt good to have somebody respond. It felt great when it all came down to it. And then our conversations were great for the people that I was most nervous for. So I'm just genuinely shocked that all this kind of happened and where we are now. And I don't feel as bad when I send these messages, but I still kind of get antsy and hands feel like they're made of blocks and uh,
Your knees weak, palms are sweaty.
yes, yes. My roommate's spaghetti.
Oh no. Yeah, but you haven't had anybody flat out tell us no, have you? I don't.
No, I've just had people not respond.
Yeah, which is, you know, fine because that's always they could be busy or other things could be happening. But
Mm-hmm. Or
I
it's just
mean,
like their mailbox is flooded with a bunch of stuff, and it's
yeah,
easy to miss things.
I think that's a big thing to come to understand about yourself that generally people want to help and they want to have things. And I think it's interesting now that maybe this is the perfect time to start a podcast because 2020 we're all removed and all we want to do is connect with other human beings. And here's this medium that we can document points in our life, which is, I guess, hashtag millennial life, but you can also meet new people in sort of a strange way and be open and vulnerable, but not actually have to be completely open and vulnerable. So, like, those, you're just practicing. So, maybe at some point it's going to be super easy to be open and understand and have these like great conversations. But yeah, no one's told you no. I think that's definitely something that worries me is asking for help and then being told no, but and not taking it personally. I think that's the next step. It's not that someone has told me no, it's that me not taking it as they don't like me or whatever else my brain wants to think it is.
That's something that I kind of like when I talk to people who have that same feeling of like, who am I to ask for help? Who am I to like I can take care of myself. And clearly it's whatever they're going through is really tough. And yeah, I believe they can do it by themselves, but it could be so much easier and this weight, and you could potentially like, because the weight is lifted off your shoulders, you could move around and figure a better way to hold that weight instead of just holding it in that one position forever. I think that it's tough. It will always be tough to ask for help until you can figure out when it's okay and when it's not okay. When it like you can clearly do it or when you can't clearly do it. When you can visualize what's going on. And to see outside yourself is such a feat in itself. So like I'm still having trouble, of course, but I'm getting better at it. And that's all I can ask for anybody else is to try and get better as much as you can, even if it's just a little.
Yeah, I mean, I even expect you to like call me up one day and be like, "All right, Alex, I found a new partner. Bye. I don't need you anymore." And like sometimes I'm like, "Okay, like this is it." He's just going to be like, "Bye, bitch." And be like, "Okay, I understand."
Who would I get?
Well, I mean, and it's not necessarily anything that you do or you present or anything. I think it's just my insecurity of just assuming that whatever, just assuming all the things, just assuming that maybe I don't have anything worth to say. I'm not a good team member. And those are just my own insecurities that I've been fighting through. And I can quiet them a lot faster than maybe I did in June or July or August or whenever we started this podcast. I don't remember. I have it written down, but I'm awful with dates.
I mean, I've the only thing I've thought about is if this becomes a larger thing, who would we add and what would we add? I never thought of replacing. Like, what is something that I need off my back that isn't already being kind of taken care of? So I've never kind of crossed my mind. Just to give you a little window in there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but that's also just me letting you know, like, hey, I got those, some of that stuff that you also talk about is how I relate. Like, I also feel that. And maybe somebody else listening is like, hey, that's right. It is sometimes scary to talk to people and be excited about things, then have them maybe not want to do the thing with you anymore, but they will. Or you can just force your way into it and it'll be great.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I have people that I call when I'm in trouble mentally. And the other day, this is the first time this person's done it. They said like, "I'm sorry. There's a lot on my plate. I can't right now, but I do care about you and I hope you're doing okay." And I said, "Thank you for telling." I mean, I just told them thank you, but I all I needed was to kind of message that person to let them know what was going on in my life. So I didn't. It wasn't like an emergency, but it was like this stress that had just started penting up, and I needed somebody to know. But yeah, and then I made a joke, and they laughed, and that was that. And eventually got better, but at the time I was just like, I'm glad they kind of responded in such a fast way, kind of thing. You know, sometimes the answers aren't gonna be the things that you need at the time, but it's at least you have a kind of point of communication or an understanding of communication when you ask for help and what they can provide.
And sometimes it's just about being heard
Yeah.
and just like I need to get this out of my brain to some other human being, and that's sometimes the only thing that you need is just to get it out and to have put the words together that make sense, and maybe that's something that you reflect on. You know, I'm not a big journaler. I don't like being alone with my thoughts sometimes, but sometimes just talking to somebody and getting that like idea out is way more beneficial than anything else.
Yeah. It really is because if you start bottling that thing up, that one small thing is going to pile on top of another small thing, and that it slowly grows. And if you don't let anybody else or you don't vocalize it, it's going to be a problem down the line. And then because your brain will love to do something like kind of amplify it when it's in a bad mood. And kind
Why
of
are you attacking me like this right now?
I'm not it's just this general idea because like if you keep it inside and leave that unchecked with the rest of reality, it can be anything. It can be as big and as small as your brain wants to make it. But when you like vocalize it and get that affirmation that yeah, that is a problem, or yeah, that's this big of a problem, getting that reaction with somebody else, it kind of puts it into a perspective and in check more than it would be just inside your head. But yeah, sorry if I'm attacking
No, I know you're not.
you.
Do you have a favorite? Okay, aside from Carlos, because
we
Carlos is our patron saint.
we gush a lot about him.
What who has been your favorite guest?
Who's your favorite guest? Well, I think because I think I know, but also I don't know. This feels bad picking favorites.
uh I asked this question thinking that it would be an easy.
All
I
right,
don't know.
all right,
I really liked everybody. I really like Lauren. I really enjoy talking to Lauren.
but is that your favorite? Here, let me.
Oh,
Okay,
I really like
here's.
Skylar too. Okay, maybe we shouldn't pick favorites. So,
I can tell you who I thought I had the most enjoyable time, like kind of getting information from, was from Mandy Mod because I was running that campaign.
right, you're in the middle and the thick of it. So really, you're just brainstorming with her.
Like, yeah, I'm brainstorming with the professional. Okay,
Yeah.
I did enjoy talking to Dave because he gave me praise, and I think that it was a fun time kind of talking to my player 101 and with you, of course, about the things that I've been doing and things that he's done, kind of thing. Because I don't usually get that perspective. I have this group kind of thing, this kind of group talk. Because I mean, I'm the DM. Like after a game, it's just me sitting there answering questions. Hey, can I do this? Hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do that? Yes, this, no, maybe. All that answers. And sometimes we just shoot shit and just talk about life. So I think it was kind of nice to have that one-on-one with Dave. With Ian, I thought it was so fun to hear about his life and his baby because I hadn't seen him in forever. Or I still haven't seen him. I haven't talked to him forever. And I still need to go visit him and the child. But yeah, those were kind of like the top for sure for me. Of course, it's hard to pick Skylar because we have him on so much time and it's always a blast. So like I felt like that was a cop out because of course I love hanging out with Skylar. I just wanted to pick someone that hadn't had an opportunity to talk again because like we'll definitely have Skylar back on. It's fun, but these other people I don't know when the next time they'll be available or if they want to come back on, kind of thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure if we ask, they might say yes, but I think I think that yeah, Mandy Mod was fun because I was just gushing and geeking out about it the whole time. All right, it's your turn. I don't know if you're ready
I
for this.
I did. I'm sticking with my Skylar. That's like a chaotic neutral fun time, I think.
Yeah, and also like go ahead and like talk about the other ones we've had.
I do
Nudge,
think it's
nudge.
very interesting. Yeah, I think it's interesting talking to like friends of mine in sort of a more structured way. So having something so like Ben and Justin and John and actually like talking because Ben and I talk and like I'm a part of hopefully a part of his life and he doesn't take that offensively like this bitch. But like I know Ben and I know his spouse and I know his cats and I've been to his house and like so having those conversations like that, but sort of having that like let's actually talk about the campaign and then being like, oh, okay, well these are all the things that like, oh, I see this is how you were thinking, so this is how it applied to our campaign. That was pretty interesting. And then John and Justin I haven't talked to in forever. So it's very interesting having them back in my life as like hearing them and having conversations with them. It's interesting. And of course, I love Carlos.
Stop.
And
We said we wouldn't say his name.
I know. I know. I also really liked Mike.
Mike,
So
okay, yeah, I forgot we can talk about that. Yeah.
we can.
Mike
Yes.
was
So of time of
so much
recording,
fun.
we have interviewed Mike and I adored that conversation too, but I feel like he's a kindred spirit. Like that's somebody I would want to have another conversation with. I have no idea what the fuck we talk about, but I'm here for it.
I loved him every time he was giving us book recommendations. I'm like, write that down.
I have it. I have them all saved.
All right, I'm gonna put that in the what's called in the notes. The reason I didn't talk about Julia too much is because I was so stressed. Because it was just me, and I was
I
so
know.
nervous. And my little sister, thank you for listening. She's like, yeah, you kind of felt a little awkward because you weren't the cosplayer, but you eventually kind of started talking about Dimension 20, and it started kind of you started flowing and kind of riffing back and forth because you guys were like starting to geek off of each other, just kind of like back and forth, like yeah, and this was cool, yeah, this was cool, kind of thing. So I think like I enjoy Julia, but I'm sorry that I had such an awkward very beginning because I wasn't prepared to be
No,
alone.
that's absolutely my bad. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Life. 20 episodes.
that's crazy. I like that it kind of like this 20 episode mark is right at the end of the year. It makes it feel complete, like a round number.
Yeah. 2020.
Oh, wow. Hey, how about that? Ain't that something?
I think so. I really do enjoy talking to you, and I don't think I would have gotten as into D&D as I've had this year. Like, I have started watching Dimension 20. I am live tweeting it on Saturdays. I forgot that it's a 2-hour commitment, so that's fine. And I'm joking. Like, it is really fun, and it is really interesting to see other campaigns, and I'm really excited to see how I grow as a DM because I can see where it would apply to other areas of my life as well, of being confident in preparing, but also being okay with making choices of, throwing the plan away and really celebrating the creativity of others. And then, of course, just trying to get everyone into the cult that is Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, of course. The I think that I've definitely grown from where I started, not just in this podcast, but through experience. And there's still so much more that I need to kind of succeed at and grow at and fail at in order to become the thing that I want to become at the end. But right now, I think that I've definitely grown, and I'm kind of excited to where I end up next year. I don't want to get too far into that. But sometime this month I have to run that one shot, which I'm kind of excited about. So I can't wait.
So it's not too late to join well, no, it is too late to join the Patreon, but it's not too late to join January's Patreon.
Yeah.
Then you get to be a part about this one shot.
Yeah. I'm excited and I can't wait to see how it comes. And this is really gonna like kind of stretch that kind of creative part of my brain to keep something fresh for every month, which isn't too bad of a commitment. Like I've got things on the back burner, and I've got games that I've been trying to play, and I'm just all around excited about what's to come and how I'm going to grow and how us as a community is going to grow. Because like we wouldn't have thought this was possible, like or gotten any listens like outside of the country with some of the numbers we see from Spotify and Anchor kind of analytics. Like I didn't know that we would get there, or like our first Twitter followers and all that stuff. And it just, I know it's the numbers are low right now, but it's higher than I'd ever imagined. Like when
It's
everyone,
higher than 0.
I would have liked the page no matter what. But yeah, I think that us putting out the Patreon, immediately getting a patron that wasn't like a family member or someone, but one of our I guess I don't listeners. I wouldn't say fans.
Melissa. We just shout out Melissa.
Yeah.
Amazing. A queen. We stan.
Yeah, no, it really felt good, and also kind of put me on my shit about when I kind of release these episodes and editing and everything. But I'm really kind of excited to see what happens, and also what I can kind of offer you as a potentially DM for a one shot or anything else. So I am all around excited.
I'm definitely excited to see what you can bring to the table. But no, I think because then there's a place for me to, I guess, explore both sides of it. That there's someone I feel like can be somewhat of a sensei Yoda figure when I do have questions or overthink things. And I don't know. I'm excited. I'm definitely want to keep this going. The Patreon will help, especially when we forget about our life and we forget how to be creative.
Okay, this would be fucking cheesy. I don't know if you want to do it.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the cheese.
All right, let's go through our list of guests and say why we're thankful for them.
Oh, I would love that. Yes.
Our first ever guest on episode 4, Skylar. Why are you thankful for Skylar?
I'm thankful that he provides a service to a lot of people and talks about like the normalization of having any sort of like neurodivergence, because I think it's very easy to not have those resources around you because people don't understand. Maybe you just have just your family and your friends are neurotypical, and that just may be a thing that you don't have. But it's very easy to isolate yourself. But he does provide that, and I think it's a really neat conversation anytime we do talk, and I do feel a little less air quote crazy when we
Oh,
talk because
okay.
it is
Sorry, I
it's
thought you
fun.
meant you were using air quotes like crazy. But no, you're air quoting around the word crazy.
What about for you?
Uh, okay. For being a pal, a friend, for just being someone that is willing to DM so many games just by himself. Like I haven't quite helped him as much as I wish I could. I'm always afraid to step on his toes as the kind of creator of the world he's building. I'm thankful that he shouts us out on his channel, which I'll link the channel here. It's Skylar the Dungeonologist. His ability to kind of, even though I kind of, hey, you want to get on today or tomorrow? Like, not very up with my shit of scheduling, that he was willing to jump in for a little bit and talk. And then also him being able to talk for us as long as he could right before he had to get off for dinner. Like, his want to just be with us, or just his information and how he talks and his inside jokes and his kind of quips. I love them all. So I'm thankful that he's here with us to talk and have this conversation, and he's willing to come back and talk with us. All right, you ready for the next one? This
I'm
is
ready for the next one.
this one's gonna be hard for you, Dave, my player.
No, because we had the
Yeah, we did.
Harry Potter conversation, right? That was the
Mm-hmm.
height of she who shall not be named. No, it is interesting to see you interact with your players because it does bring like a candidness to you. So I am thankful that we had him because I got to see another side of you. That may be a cop out answer, but it was just really neat to see you basically talk shop about your campaign, and then like hopefully gave you the opportunity to see that you are actually like a good DM and they really like you. Like your players really do, and you have that ability to be, a good asset in your area, in
Mm-hmm.
your community, in your things.
Yeah, no, I'm thankful that he's my player and he's still my player and he assists me. And I know things kind of get rough in the campaign every now and then, or I steal something that's precious to him in the campaign and he's still playing. So I'm just thankful about that he's sticking around. Um,
How dare you?
he's one of the older ones, I think, in the party. So I don't. I'm not saying that me and him are the closest in age, right next to one of our other players. The rest are like young-ish, and they always give us crap for being boomers. It's pretty funny. I think it's funny. John.
I love John because he threw a bunch of things at me about DMing when I mentioned that we were starting a podcast. And so he definitely really helped give me more information about just doing it and like how important it is to be a DM, especially with those around you and even the ways that you can grow. So, John is a friend of my heart forever. We also have really good conversations about ADHD and sort of the struggle parts of it, and is somebody that I can bounce those things off of. This sounds more like why John is a friend of mine and not why I am thankful that he was on our podcast. But it is really, like I said, it's neat to see your friends in different areas doing the things that they are proud of because they're good at it.
I'm thankful to John that he kind of, I don't know, it's one of my sister's favorite episode, and I'm thankful that she's like, she can point one out because of, that memory lane back to tech, and also just kind of having that conversation of back in college that we can both have. He also gave me some assets after our podcast to kind of assist me on being a better using the audio quality and stuff. I still need to implement it better because when I opened it up, it kind of scared me, so I put it back. I'm afraid of change and trying to learn new things sometimes because I feel like I'm just gonna mess everything up. But I am thankful that he kind of reached out and said, "Hey, you can use this," and I did mess around with it a bit. I just need more practice with it before I can actually implement. But yeah, that's what I'm thankful for.
Lauren, First of all, I love that Lauren talked to us twice because somebody lost the file.
That's me.
But it was you. But I really enjoy our kindred spirit of just the way of thinking, and I like that she's a female creator. I love all of our art, and I'm slowly going to start understanding all of the things that she creates because now I'm in the Dimension 20 area. I understand, maybe what's going on there.
I'm thankful that she was willing to come back. uh, and I enjoyed our conversations, and I think even though we had the conversation twice, it was different than the first. Like
It was.
it just kind of shows that this isn't just a thing on repeat. That if even with the same person on about the same subject, we still had a different conversation. Kind of showing that we can have these like talks again about the same topic, much like how we talked about death, but with somebody else. And I think it was just all good talk and all together.
Yeah. And she was super vulnerable with us that I felt that was a surprise. I think the first time that we experienced a basic stranger like be emotional with us, which is neat.
Yeah, being open about their experience and something like, I mean, I know me and you get open and talk about our experience, and I feel like at this point, me and you kind of understand, like, yeah, that's part of who we are. So seeing somebody else open up, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't. Okay, you didn't have to, but I really appreciate it. I know, but yeah, no, it's amazing. It really made me kind of smile that she felt comfortable enough to share that.
Yeah. Who's next?
Julia,
I like that Julia made you super uncomfortable.
boo.
And and no, it reminds me I haven't been a cosplayer like I haven't considered myself a cosplayer in forever. The last costume I built was not even based on anything. It was just a dress that I made out of book pages. So, and then just her creativity and what she does is like super cool. So if you haven't gone to like go check her out, like go check out
Pins and
Julia's
Dragons.
Insta. It's so good.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, no, I'm thankful that she put up with my awkwardness. And every time she posts something on, it just always makes me feel like, wow, that's amazing. Like that's something that I currently cannot do, and I'm always bewildered and amazed every time somebody kind of creates something new. And I just thought her shit was rad. Okay, like that's the basic of it. That's why I wanted to talk to her.
Her shit is really rad.
All right, I think we can skip this guy. Carlos. We don't have too much to say about him.
No, I don't. Which one was Carlos?
He was only
What do we
like
talk about?
our longest podcast.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we didn't
Him.
talk about anything.
Nope.
No, fuck that. Carlos, it's tough to pretend. We don't shut up about it. I'm gonna let you go first, unless you want me to go first.
I think you should go first,
This time,
just for
okay.
funsies.
For funsies, we'll
Yeah.
switch it up. All right, for the next half, I'll do me first. Look, okay. I think I'm thankful that he came on and talked about his kind of interaction as a person of color and someone that kind of is a creator that I finally kind of saw on this kind of platform of, playing Dungeons and Dragons. Because there's not. When I first kind of watched it, the main one was Critical Role and what's the one with the McElroy family?
The Adventure Zone.
Yes. Like, there wasn't anyone that looked like me when in those kind of settings, and it's not that like that's bad. I just was kind of amazed and had that feeling of, hey, I could do that because I saw that person that looked kind of like me, and I'm thankful that he came on and had this amazing talk, and he was able to kind of like vent everything that he had in his head, and I think it was funny. He's just like, "Are we still going?" At one point, I just amazing, and he kind of like that, like me kind of talking to him felt like my kind of peak of who I wanted to talk to, because I couldn't even imagine myself asking anybody else. And him saying, no, dude, just keep going, kind of thing, made me feel like, okay, well, this isn't the top. I can keep going. So I'm thankful for him in that kind of capacity that, it motivated me to try to keep going and ask more people and talk to people, anybody I wanted. Just ask. Yeah.
I think I agree that that was probably the, I don't want to say climax, but definitely the turning point. Well, I guess that's the same thing. Definitely the moment in which my brain switched and said that this is something that you and I could be doing and that it was worth doing. That somebody else saw the value in what we were creating and presenting, and then that sparked all of the other things to be like, okay, if we did this, then we can also do these things, and this is how we can make this impact on the Dungeons and Dragons community, which I think is, that's really what pushes me. I would like to see that I can make an impact. I know that that maybe shouldn't be how I always think, but I want to know going into it that it's worth my time because my time is valuable. But he definitely was somebody, which is why I joke that he's our patron saint, but that was a, I don't know, maybe it was just like the timing of his episode in my life and in our podcast that it was just like the like shining parts of my transformation in 2020.
Yeah. Some other stuff was like going on, and it just all kind of lined up. And that
Yeah,
he was like the beacon, like, hey,
he was.
it's
Yeah.
lined up. Do it.
The beacons are lit. Gondor calls for aid that moment.
Yes, exactly. All right. We have Skylar again. I don't. Do you go to the next one, right?
Who's who is Skylar? What? Who is that?
uh, we'll give him praise again later. He comes up again later.
Praise for Skylar.
Mandy Mod.
Mandy.
Seeing the perspective of somebody who kind of meticulously took something apart, added stuff in, and made it their own is something I totally want to achieve. And it's something I'm trying to do currently. But watching someone who's kind of almost completely fleshed it out and has finished or is about to be there makes me feel so bewildered. Because, like, right now, I don't see an ending point. I'm always going to be kind of modifying and changing the story that I'm creating for my players, and she's doing it, and when she talks about it, she's so knowledgeable because she wrote it down compared to me, who's just like, yeah, no, obviously I'm going to change it this way, I'll write it down later. Yeah, I'm horrible, but I'm so thankful to have her perspective and her ideas, and just to kind of bounce things off what has been happening through my campaign, and just kind of smile, grin, and laugh about the the things that have been going on in our games. And yeah, it was so enjoyable.
Yeah, to see someone who's done that meticulous work and who is willing to just talk about it because they think it's important and that's something that they wanted to do, and who spent that time, creating, I guess, that fleshing out of a story. And that's a really great way to get beginning player, maybe not Curse of Strahd, but sure, why not? Getting beginning DMs in to like, here's all the things that you can do with this one campaign. And so it's a really good template of what else you can maybe do with your imagination. Also, female in the community doing awesome things, being a really great resource. I'm absolutely here for that. And she's just so nice. So like I was thankful that she was just wanting to talk about it, and that was it. It was like not a big deal for her, but wow, you did all that work and that's amazing, and we do not deserve you.
Ian Lawrence. I'm thankful that he is my friend, my brother. We've been through a bit here and there. We've been through two jobs together, and we've dealt with a lot of shit. And I'm thankful that he's doing well, and he's, finding his outlet, and he has this beautiful family. I'm thankful he had time to talk to us. And I was thankful that he gave me an update on his life. And I hope someday down the road we have time to play, get the somebody, I don't know if it's the same group, but a group back together and play again.
Well, we need to test play his game too.
Yes, we do.
We did a really great job of following through with that.
Life, well, that was like right after I had my hell weeks, unfortunately.
Yep. Yep. It was life.
So yeah, I was so stressed. I couldn't even think about anything. I barely managed to keep the podcast keep going.
I think it's the same. I mean, it's not the same thing, I guess. I was
Hey,
gonna
yeah,
say the
you didn't
same.
even
Yeah,
you don't
we
even
grew up
know.
together. We're like bros. We just No, I mean, it was a moment of feeling like I was a part of a family, which was really, really neat because I, for whatever reason, listened to that other podcast that you guys had together. And it was a moment of like, oh, yeah, they're just like two bros hanging out. But for whatever reason, the like charisma between you two and like the energy, like the relationship's really cool to be a part of. So I'm really thankful that both of you let me in on that. And we're here to just sort of like let us chill for a moment where our life felt like maybe it was a little crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, life is and hopefully won't be as crazy, but we'll see how it happens. It is what
Or
it
we'll just
is.
have more tools to handle it.
Yes, exactly. All right. Justin Mann.
I love Justin.
Justin was fun. Me and him talked about Chris Estrad. So take your drinks, ladies and gentlemen. I said it again. I'm thankful that he was able to kind of show me voice mod and some other tools that he used and how he went about it, his campaign. It was fun. I know I kicked you out away from your friend, but it was fun to spend time with him. And I'm glad that John and Justin gave me an opportunity to watch their campaign this last week. So thank you for inviting me in so I can listen in, see what's going on. And it looked like your stench cows were having a blast. You don't know what that means. I didn't. I
Nope.
kind of had an idea. I don't know. They just kept saying stench cows, and Justin was using a voice modulator. He's like, "I am stench cow." It was fun. It was fun listening in.
I will join in one day when they're all playing because I my Discord goes off when they're playing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, well, that's hey, if you want to listen. Oh yeah, yeah, I just get no excuses.
yeah.
That's it. No excuses anymore. The same things. It's neat hearing since you guys are both in the middle of your campaigns. It is neat to see the difference, like the baby nuances of those campaigns. So, and just having another person to bounce off ideas and to just to hear their experiences as a late in life D and degree.
Ah yes, we've got them now.
Ah ha 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 ha. D&D player. It's not it doesn't all have to be like from when you were a baby to now. It can be, you're in your late 20s, 30s and playing Dungeons and learning how to play and still having just as much fun with it.
Ben.
Man,
Okay. I'm thankful that Ben kind of we were able to talk to other about other RPGs, and there was Star Wars, and I kind of got a little excited, and I was super fascinated. And then also, I think that I was thankful that he kind of gave me an insight of how a smaller game looks like, and sometimes it is a bit messy, and we kind of have to drop and pick up where it stands. Like it makes me feel less bad when I still have like 3 hours to finish something, and I still don't get it done. He's like, "Yeah, no, it's no problem. Just pause and come back." So it just kind of gave me an insight into that. So I'm thankful about
yeah.
that.
I like getting to relive like the best part of my job at working with them and housing. That was, one thing that led me to stay in that position for as long as I did, which really wasn't even that long, but it just shows that the universe gives you specific places to be because people in your life need to be in your life, and that's all that matters. So the 6 months I worked with them, I've been friends with them for much longer, which is neat. And it's like I like reliving that, and I'm thankful that he did have the opportunity to maybe show us and listeners that there are other RPGs that have the same mechanics. And if Dungeons and Dragons isn't your flavor, you can still do the same thing with something else. Like there are different ways to go down it. I know our name is Dungeons and Degrees, and I know we tend to talk about D&D, but if you can't learn from everybody, then you're missing out on a lot of lessons of life, first of all. But there's a lot of different places that you can take your D&D and it, just do it.
Yeah, it's this idea is more of like TTRPGs in general, just that kind of fun, and some sort of real life kind of aspect, right? That's what we've
Yeah.
been aiming for the past 20 episodes.
Yeah, real life. If you can't apply the shit to real life, we don't know what you're doing here.
Or we've been doing it wrong, one of the two. All right, David Puga. I'm thankful that he made our music and he
I'm
reached
so
out.
thankful that he made our music.
Yeah, like he reached out to us and also kind of came in and talked to us about what was going on and his abilities. Like if you don't think it's gonna apply, you need to figure out how it applies, kind of thing. Like when he was talking about how you know him playing video games was not gonna amount to anything, but now he made sound effects for video games and all that stuff. So I think that's such a good lesson. So I didn't know what to expect because this is like another one of your friends, and I didn't have like too much information. I'm like, oh, okay. But I feel like that's how you feel every episode when I bring in a random. This is this is some guy that works at a company, and yeah, I've never talked to him, but I know a little bit about him. So like, I think that's just so cool.
Dimension 20, what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Slowly but surely, we are
Oh,
removing that
I know.
idea.
What I'm never gonna be able. I can't use that anymore. What am I gonna
I
do?
don't know yet. Well, I'll start looking up a different podcast or media, and then you'll be out of the loop again. So don't worry about it. I'll find something.
I just gotta quit listening to. Oh well, anything else, I guess.
Yeah, just always be in the dark.
Yeah, I absolutely adore David's creativity and just passion about just like making connections, and it was another nostalgia train, but it was like an old nostalgia train, which was a lot of fun for me. And yeah, I'm just that's another way for you to connect with Dungeons and Dragons and maybe branch off for things that you want to do. And I also he's just so nice. Like he's such a nice I'm so think he's just so nice. Like he's just so nice. Is I'm really excited about how nice David Puga is. So shout out to David. Thanks for being super nice.
Really, just laying on the nice um, on there, really thick.
I know. They're just so exciting.
All right, and the last guest we had, Mr. Mike Trapp. I don't know why I said it like that.
I don't know either. He'd be offended.
Yeah,
No. No, he
it's
wouldn't. He'd be
it's
super nice
actually
about it too.
Esquire. It should be Esquire Mike Trapp. Duh. Duh duh duh. Mike, I'm thankful that Mike came and talked about monsters with us, and I think that I kind of already touched upon it already, but like him just coming like, what you should read? You should read this. Like, I wasn't expecting it, so when he started talking about, it, I'm like, okay, yeah, and then he kept coming, I'm like, all right, and then I just started feeling his energy and the way he was talking about these books. You need to read these books. I started to like feel that energy coming up from the chat, and I was feeling it. So I was thankful that he brought that to the chat, and it was an awesome time talking with him.
Yeah, and he really gave some really neat moments of like finding other monsters and just using different cultures, and you can definitely create your own entities and give them different, maybe have your player characters find a different story or find a different reason as to why that monster is a quote unquote monster. I've used air quotes a lot today. I don't know how I feel about that.
You're good. Uh, I had a really good time with him. But yeah, that's all the guests we had,
Wow.
and we'll have so much more. and we'll probably have some returning guests. Did someone say Skylar? Because that's probably gonna
What?
happen. I
This would
won't.
have been a perfect moment for Skylar, just like bust through the wall like Kool-Aid Man and just, did someone say Skylar? I'm
I
here for
would
that.
call him right now, but apparently his ISP is messing up right now.
Oh no.
Yes, condolences to my boy Sky, Lair, my boy Sky. I don't know if he's gonna like that, but yeah, no, I think I'm excited to see what happens, and we'll kind of get into that conversation in our next episode. When the new year comes around, we'll talk about that. What we expect from this next year as a podcast and as people.
Yeah. Goal setting, not necessarily New Year's resolutions because those are doomed to fail. But
well, just tiny steps, you know?
yeah, like goals, reachable goals that you can achieve.
Yeah. Or stepping stones, whatever you want to see. Give yourself something attainable in the first 3 months. And then if you complete that, give you another goal. It doesn't have to be just at New Year's. Make goals all the time that you can achieve and that you wish to achieve. I always give myself lofty goals, so I'm really not talking to anybody but myself.
I'm better when I just focus on like the weekly tasks of like maybe I have the bigger goal, but I have to break it down. It has to be, otherwise it won't get done at all. But that will be for next week.
Yes. So yeah, but also ultimately, thank y'all for listening, and thank you guys
Absolutely.
for keeping with us, and we really
And thank
appreciate it.
you, Adrian, for being such a good co-host.
Shut up. Thank you for being a great co-host. All right.
And once again, thank y'all so much for listening. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at DNDegreesPod. You can find us at dndegreespod.com. Find us on Patreon. Help us grow even further and bring 2020 a new level of D&D content. Like Adrian said earlier, we're going to do one-shots. We have Q&As. I just ordered our stickers and our pencils. So that swag will be coming. Help us grow our listenership by recommending us to your friends and family. Rate us 5 stars wherever you can rate podcasts, only 5 stars. Otherwise, the whole 2020 will be a year in which one of your shoelaces is always untied, which is not an issue, but just a mild inconvenience.
Well, thank you so much. My name's Adrian.
And I'm Alex.
Go have some fun.